do.
Oh, I do.
Okay. Good evening. We'll call the January 16th, or Thursday, January 16th, Town of Rome Board meeting to order. Roll call starting on my left, please.
Stevenson here.
Minter here.
Jumati here.
Cole here.
Gabriel here.
Certify the posting of the meeting.
I am not prepared today. I am so sorry. It's been a day.
It was busy.
I certify that on Monday, January 13th, 2025, the agenda for the Town of Rome Board meeting for Thursday, January 16th was posted at the Rome Town Hall at 1:09 p.m., Quick Trip LLC at 1:15 p.m., Nakusa Port Edward State Bank at 1:30 p.m., and emailed to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune at 1 p.m.
Thank you. Approve the agenda.
I'll
move.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll move to approve today's agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Supervisor Evenson, second by Supervisor Gabriel to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, do we get any citizen comment cards? All right, then we'll go the first paragraph. Paragraph 6A. The board will also take comment from the public on agenda items as called by the chair, but not during citizen comment. Please note that once the board begins discussion on an agenda item, no further comment will be allowed from the public on that issue. No action contemplated except possible referral to a future agenda. Informational updates, meeting recaps, recent correspondence, current events, and announcements. Starting on my left.
I believe the Lake Sherwood fishery is this weekend.
Okay, that's all for me.
I have nothing.
All right, I have an update. Lisa from Visit Rome and I had listened in on the Innovation Grant webinar today, separate locales, but we thought that there might be some potential here for the Link the Lakes project. Under the Economic Development and Tourism, it appears to be more services related, so we can maybe possibly explore other options in the town to use that grant. But I have reached out to get some additional questions answered that weren't necessarily answered, because I thought it might also work for possibly down the line a municipal rec center in conjunction with the rural USDA economic development. So there's still definitely some possibilities here. More information is coming out for the applications in July. Do you have anything, or?
No, there's, the usual to go to visitromewi.com for events and things going on in town, and romewi.gov for government and town of Rome information. But then there is a unique event, kind of different for us this weekend, Saturday at Trinor's Winter Park. It's from 10 to 3 o'clock, and kids can go, and I guess kids can try to learn how to ski jump, and there's trails are open, and they've got hot chocolate and all kinds of things. So you can go over there if you don't have anything going on Saturday. It's kind of a fun winter thing. That's all I have.
I have nothing else to add.
Okay, thank you. Number 8, department and committee reports. Do anyone have any questions or comments for staff on any of the reports?
I had one since Nicole is here. I see she has completed quite a few things here. Is that correct? Certificate Advanced Public Library Administration Certificate, Public and Community Library Services Certificate, and what's the other one? Completed Director Certification Requirements and Grant Paperwork. So congratulations. Thank you, Nicole, for doing all of that.
Not temporary anymore. So.
Yes, there you go.
Good job, Nicole. That keeps us certified as a level 1 library now, right? 2.
Yep.
Great, thank you. Anyone else?
Are we gonna have a separate thing on the transfer site? Otherwise, Cody's got quite a few things going on that happened at the transfer site. Or is there a separate item for that? So the compactors are up and running?
Jason didn't we ask him to bring us back a report on a regular monthly basis so they can give us an update if you want to do that right
We
now?
did, but I didn't see it on the agenda, so I didn't know.
Well, they didn't add
No.
it right away.
That's okay.
So, is this thing on? Mm-hmm. All right. So, the transfer site, we have one compactor up and running right now. We are in the process of getting the second one up and running, hopefully by this weekend, if not by Monday. We've made arrangements to have overflow should a compactor fill up or whatnot. The stairs have been put in place. We are waiting on one set of stairs to be finished up. And working with staff for training out there to have more eyes on traffic coming in and loads coming in and stickers and passes and whatnot, so.
Are the electronics bins ready for people to bring?
Yes, actually, they're full.
Oh,
They've been utilized quite a bit.
That's
right.
great. We
I
won't
have- I
find
have
them
a
on the
TV.
trails.
Correct.
awesome.
Yeah, that's great. And then you have someone checking tags now then on a regular
Yes.
basis too?
Yep.
So everything's
The
falling
guard
into
shack will
place
be
as
staffed
predicted?
at all times.
Great. Jason, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Just that the tags are available here during business hours. They're available at Rome Outdoors, and they're also available on February 8th at the transfer site during business hours.
Okay.
So as of now, you can split and go to either side of the recyclables? Is that
You
correct?
can, yes,
Okay.
yes. The one side is in the gravel right now, the other side's on pavement. Once we get everything kind of finalized, we'll be able to shift some things over,
Okay.
so.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. And we'll make sure we can make it a regular item on the agenda. I thought it would just come up under his administration report, but we can make it a regular item. Anyone else? Nope. Alrighty. Discussion and possible action on the following items. Discussion and possible action, approval of the January 2nd, 2024 and January 8th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Oh, yeah, we need to change that to 2025.
Oh, did I say 20? Oh,
It says it on there.
Says that.
well, see, you misled me. Okay.
I'll move to approve the January 2nd, 2025 and the January 8th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay, motion by Supervisor Evenson, second by Supervisor Minter for approval of the January 2nd, 2025 and January 8th, 2025 meeting minutes. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, discussion and possible action, approval of the resolution number 25-, a resolution authorizing the redemption of general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2017B, dated April 20th, 2017. Did you want to address this?
Yes, so in your packet, there was a memorandum from Greg Johnson from Ellers. Wendy, the clerk, and I met with Greg about a month ago. We are eligible to call this note due. Basically, we would be saving $56,568.75 if we pay this off on April 1st. So our recommendation is to go forward with this and proceed with getting this loan paid off.
It's nice that we can pay it off early. I'm going to read the letter here from Greg Johnson at Ellers. Redemption of the GO refunding bonds, so folks at home and here know what this was for. Background, in 2017, the Town of Rome issued general obligation refunding bonds, which refinanced notes that funded Archer Road improvements, $700,000 in administrative and legal costs associated with the creation of TID number 1 for $150,000. Debt service for the general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2017B, has been paid by tax incremental revenues collected by the TID number 1. No general town levy support has been needed to pay the debt service for these bonds. On April 1st, 2025, the bonds are callable, which means the bonds can be paid off early, and that's without penalty, which is how our loans are normally set up. TID number 1 has sufficient funds to pay off the remaining principal due from 25 to 2032 and interest due on April 1st, 2025. The combined total of principal and interest due April 1st, 2025 is $533,256.25. By paying off the bonds early, interest will no longer accrue on those bonds, saving us, as Robbie stated, $56,568.75. Recommended action is redemption resolution and call notice approved by the town board allows the bonds to be called and paid off in full early, April 1st, 2025. Ellers recommends approval of the resolution, and Ellers are our financial advisors. That's good. That's great.
I'll make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the redemption of the general obligation refunding bond, Series 2017B, dated April 20th, 2017.
I'll second that.
Motion by Supervisor Cole, second by Supervisor Gabriel for the approval of resolution number 25-, a resolution authorizing the redemption of general obligation refunding bond, Series 2017B, dated April 20th, 2017. Any more discussion?
Just a question. So if these bonds were being funded with the TID funds that were paying the principal and interest that was due, that doesn't affect anything that we have on the tax levy related to other debt payment, correct? Still, it's good to pay them off.
Absolutely. Save the interest. Save the interest. Any other questions or comments? Nick, did you have anything you want? Oh, okay.
Nothing, just
All right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 11, discussion and possible action, approval of ordinance number 25, consideration of proposed amendments to Chapter 360 zoning, Article 17, Rome Town Center District, Sections 360-81.1C, Sub C, amendments to Chapter 360 zoning. Oh, I did that. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Back up here. 360-81.2 Sub C, 360-81.3 Sub C, 360-81.4 Sub C, and 360-81.5 Sub C, regarding unification of dimensional, area, and other requirements, form-based non-use controls in the Rome Town Center sub-districts, Commercial A sub-district, Mixed Town Center sub-district, Senior Living sub-district, Mixed Multifamily sub-district, and Mixed Commercial Light Industrial sub-district Plan Commission items. Nick.
Thank you. So this item is, as the agenda item denotes, a series of amendments proposed for the sub-districts in Rome Town Center's district. As it was stated, it's effectively unifying what's called non-use or form-based controls. You may recall back when you all had reviewed Sam Schultz, the planning the planning specialist recommendations. One of his recommendations was to consider unifying those non-use controls, and this is what then the subcommittee, in reviewing those recommendations and going through the process, this is one of the steps that the subcommittee did take up. One thing that I think it should be noted is as the subcommittee went through and started to tackle this step, they put together, and I'm not sure if you've all seen a table that looks about like this. And what it did was allowed for a good picture of what is exactly the same between sub-districts, and we're not talking about uses, right? The uses that are allowed are separate altogether. This is the non-use areas, and this kind of chart gave a clearer picture on where those non-use controls really differed. I think what really stood out to the subcommittee was that where it was different was not often. There weren't a lot of areas where there were differences, but the differences in unifying them will assist with processing applications through the site plan and plan of operation steps more efficiently. And so So the Plan Commission, over the last two meetings, had considered the recommendations from the subcommittee. The Plan Commission, at its last meeting on January 14th, held a public hearing and made the recommendation to make these amendments. I would just note that the recommendation also did come with an adjustment, and I believe earlier this week you were provided a updated set of recommendations. The only change that came from that was a minor change in, minor but important change in the Commercial A and the Mixed Town Center sub-districts. It's under the architectural section. Both of the changes are in the same paragraph. So for example, on page 4, you'll see architectural standards near the bottom of page 4. Those are the architectural standards for the Commercial A sub-district. You'll see two changes proposed there, and they relate to clarifying the percent of street and entry areas are for all, and that the street/entry is now street and entry. In other words, in the past, we've had interpretation differences that have happened, trying to put that diplomatically, and this clarifies it to make sure that going forward, everybody's on the same page as to what that paragraph is referencing.
Okay, need a motion? Does anybody have questions for Nick, or otherwise we need a motion?
I'll move to approve the amendments to the zoning chapter 360 as presented.
I'll second it for discussion.
We have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Gabriel, for approval of ordinance number 25, consideration of proposed recommended amendments to Chapter 360 zoning. Discussion?
As Nick stated before, we switched a few words under architectural for interpretation purposes. But if we go back to the other requirements item on page 3, item 4, section B, I don't want to leave any interpretation to the item B. Accessory buildings height 24 feet, architectural such as cupolas, blah. We need to limit the size of these accessory buildings, or we're going to leave this open for interpretation. And I know we had a lengthy discussion at the Plan Commission meeting, but there was only 4 or 7 people at the Plan Commission meeting when this was discussed. We had a short table that night. I think that when businesses are coming into this town center, it should be spelled out to them directly what they need to do. And I think we need to have something in there that says less than 50% size of your primary structure. I'm afraid that somebody's gonna send a plan through for a 40 by 60 accessory building, it gets approved, and now we end up with a storage facility in Commercial A. I know a Plan Commission, Plan Commission can regulate it, but the Plan Commission does switch a lot. Not all these members stay on for a decade. So with the switching of members on there, I would like to see something that limits the size of accessory buildings in there so we don't end up with oversized garages. And on a second note, if we're going with a master planner, developer that's gonna look at the whole Rome Town Center, why don't we put all the changes together and just make an amendment to that final packet that we all get when we buy property? When I bought it was Alpine Village, now it's called Rome Town Center, and let's do all the changes at once, because here we're piecemealing all these changes. We're gonna have updated on such and such a date in 25, and then this is gonna go 2 months later to 2025. But my main concern is not having any size restrictions on accessory buildings throughout the whole place, let alone Commercial A.
Nick, or?
I mean, I can just talk
Touch
through
on the-
procedurally what that would mean.
Well,
So-
actually, if you're saying if we would delay this, why delay?
No,
it?
I was just going to say that you would, so you have a motion to approve it at this point.
Right.
So I would just say procedurally, Supervisor Gabriel is correct, that was discussed. It's been discussed previously during a site plan of operation as well, in somewhat similar terms. You could still refer the item back to the Plan Commission to review that piece of it, and put forward a recommendation subsequent, along with any other, I guess, changes that they would have.
I would like to add that, working on that committee, as well as we have another committee member there, we had a meeting this morning. A lot of work went into this already. It was a deep dive into the form-based non-use controls, and this was to simply unify the few differences we have for form-based non-use controls. The next step is to go into use controls and sizes, but as those things would come to Plan Commission, they would be dealt with on an individual basis. There's other changes coming forward, and we're working through this as was requested of us and as was promised to get us to a place of a single or two sub-districts at some point to work with the master planner, and we have donated services. So this is one step towards having everything, all those pieces come together. We're not doing it piecemeal. Maybe you could address this, it's not piecemeal.
Well, I guess I would just say that this was a exercise of going through Sam Schultz's recommendations and unifying, so it wasn't adding necessarily anything that was not addressed somewhere else, as I understood the subcommittee's process through this. Not that they couldn't do that at some point, and you can make the recommendation that they, add that to the, certainly add that to the list.
Of what to do.
I'm not saying that there's not merit to those pieces, but I'm just giving at least an interpretation of what my understanding of the subcommittee's work to date was, which was to unify the non-use controls and not to add to it. But that isn't to say that there's not merit in what
And we can certainly
Supervisor
make a
Gabriel
note
was
of
saying.
that and refer it back, which we can make a note of that and refer it back.
So I have a question. What size restriction would you recommend putting on that if it were to be a change to the current?
Well, if we go back to several Plan Commission meetings, Jerry made a recommendation that it should be less than 50% of the primary structure, and I thought that was a reasonable response when we were talking about accessory buildings months ago. So if you have a 24 by 48 building, your max garage can be 24 by 24. I just don't want to see accessory buildings getting built in there for boat storage. And as I said, the Plan Commission is left to interpretation. And if a business is going to come in and draw up blueprints, it'd be nice to know that what size they could start with in the beginning and not have to go back to their architect to draw it again. But I think over the course of the last 20 years, we were really trying to limit what types of buildings went in there. And I don't want to see a small coffee shop with a huge building, and we're leaving it all to the Plan Commission then. I think we should spell it out in the ordinance to give them a size parameter so we don't end up with accessory buildings larger than the principal business building.
Wouldn't a boat storage, though, that would be a use or fall under conditional uses or permitted uses, and that's our next section of things that we'll be looking at is use controls as to what can actually be, and we do currently have restrictions as to what can be built in there.
And if a boat build dealer came in there and they attached their building to their primary structure, would not be considered an accessory.
It's not allowed. It's not an allowed use.
Which is fine. I'm just saying that right now, we're leaving the door wide open for big accessory structures to be built in commercial A. So,
I think we should take it up at the next meeting. We can certainly acknowledge that and take it up at the next meeting, but to slow down the progress as we've been working hard to move forward, we could take it in our next meetings on Friday, next week, so we could take it up there and put it on our agenda.
but I don't feel we're slowing down the process at all because there's not 3 businesses pounding on our door to come in and build. So we have time this winter to get this right and not just do some red ink on this and change commercial A. And then we're going to get a master planner to come in and do more changes. Let's just update the Rome Town Center in one fell swoop, get the changes that we're all looking for in there. And it's been revised before. If you look at the Alpine Village Manual, it says updated on blah, blah, gets updated again. I mean, we're just picking really a minor change out of here, and now we're leaving no restrictions and we're leaving it to interpretation. And I'm glad to see the architectural standards had the word all put in, because that was left to interpretation before, and we saw what happened. I don't think we need to leave things to interpretation.
And we just, Diana, would you agree we could put that on our next agenda, that that's one of the things we would look at, but it's not leaving it to, and as you yourself said, nobody's banging down our door right now. We're not trying, and the work that we've been doing and trying to do, as has the Plan Commission, is to make sure we have the right growth in there, the smart growth in there, and that's what a master planner will help us with. This is just one step of consolidating very few differences. And it was recommended by the subcommittee that worked on it, and it was recommended by the Plan Commission.
So I just have a perspective. I value the work of the subcommittee and the Plan Commission. I also value Tom's perspective as a business owner in the Rome Town Center and having navigated through the process of building in the Rome Town Center. So I think he has that practical knowledge and perspective of how it works to develop something here. Would it be that big of a hindrance or problem if this wasn't done today and went back and you did look at these things and just brought it to the next meeting?
It slows down the process. I don't know, Diana, do you have anything to add, please?
I'm Diana Dilge. I'm chair of the Plan Commission, and I'm also on the RTC subcommittee. Monday or Tuesday, our members of our subcommittee are going to be speaking with the master planner, the proposed master planner. In order for us to go forward on this donated master planner, if we have our ducks in a row as quickly as we can, it circumvents the additional time that he will be spending on putting these plans together. That saves the town of Rome a lot of money, and it also saves the person that Sand Valley or the Kaiser Group who is donating their services. We want to make the fact that their donation is coming to the town of Rome, we want to make that process as smooth as we possibly can. And in order to do this, we need to have a consolidated zoning district as best we can. There are minor changes that we've found, as has been said here, that if we just incorporate them as is proposed in front of you today, that will simplify the procedure for our master planner, and it will save everyone money, time, and effort. If we postpone this today, it's going to postpone our other issues, our other non-use and use issues that we need to address in order to get this plan going forward, where we can get RFPs out, we can get developers in, make it a much smoother process for everyone that will come into the Rome Town Center. And that's what we are attempting to do. An accessory building in the town center, the only district that would not allow it, if I recall correctly, is Commercial A. All the other districts in the Rome Town Center had the ability to build accessory buildings. I do not see a massive, huge structure larger than any building anywhere in the Rome Town Center in any other zoning district. And that's been in place for a very long time. So I understand Tom's concerns. Maybe I don't, but nonetheless, it's,
Respecting his concerns.
I'm
but
respecting
you've
your
given a-
concerns, but I do feel it's irrelevant to what we are trying to do here. And I don't believe,
If you look on the chart that we had, that we recommended, it had where the accessory building in Commercial A, as Diana said, was the only one that didn't have a certain square footage, or 24 feet. So we've addressed that now. All the rest have been this way for a very long time, and we adjusted the language. That was a concern, and I understand it, I agree, it was a concern, and that's gonna make it easier. Lexi now has something here with an initial conversation, site plan of operation, to move this to work with this document the way that it is.
and you'll also note on that document there, that the only place that is not completed right now is the density issue that we are going to go through with the master planner. The master planner needs to have an idea of what we want to get, how we want to develop this Rome Town Center. And in order for us to get the density, we have to understand what the rest of the Rome Town Center is going to be looking like. And that if we stop this procedure, our master planner may not be able to give us the best recommendation and the best help that he possibly can. And that's what we are trying to achieve. And I believe with the people that we have retained, like Sam, and the master planner that has been highly recommended to us and very qualified, to get the best out of those people, we need to continue to go forward. To do it all in one lump sum, as Supervisor Gabriel recommended or thought we could do, it would be so overwhelming, in my opinion, for the supervisors to kind of grasp all of this at one time, where we're not doing it piecemeal, we're doing it so that we can take the next step forward. And that's why we're doing this.
We actually went through the 15 steps, launch points with Sam this
Today,
morning at our meeting.
we did.
And we're on track to accomplish everything we need to get everything in place, that overall we'll have a final product for sound, smart development in that Rome Town Center.
And to promote it in a way where the town of Rome will best be able to facilitate the RFPs and best be able to facilitate helping the developers and giving them a very clean document as far as what is going to be expected of them and what they can and cannot do in this developed area.
Nick, did you want to add anything to those points?
I would agree. I kind of spoke to the same thing. No one, when this was being reviewed and unified, none of that was nothing was being added to it. The idea here was to unify this stuff across the districts, and so I don't think that was a exercise that the subcommittee had done. I would also maybe just add, and I guess it's kind of just a question back to those that were part of the subcommittee this morning. My understanding is Sam Schultz had attended that with you all, and he's aware that you're going through these steps piece by piece,
He
rather than
reviewed this
in.
document. Yeah, he reviewed this document and he said this really helps us get to the next step of now looking at use controls, where you get into more of the specifics, and there's.
Yes, that's what I wanted
So,
to,
yeah, he
just
said-
to know.
Yeah.
So we still have to go and go over the use controls yet first, before the master planner can really go forward.
No,
Go
he
concurrently.
said that we can work on those concurrently
He
with,
could work on this too at the same time then. So we can wait 2 weeks. I
this
think
is
we
just
should wait 2
like
weeks.
a,
For what, can I just ask you,
For
what
the
do you?
next, I mean, why not?
Because we're not gonna have use controls is gonna take us a couple of meetings, and I guess, do we wanna make progress on this or not? And there's nothing here that was, when we have a developer that the town contracted with, that's a land use specialist, and this is his field telling us that this is the right thing to do, and you've got it recommended by 2 bodies that have worked through it, why would you go against it, I guess?
and when we discussed with Sam exactly that, what we were doing, where we were at in the process, he said, this is really, really good. This is where you want to be.
Maybe if he would be here at this meeting and he heard what we're discussing now, maybe he would say that's a good idea as well. You don't know that, because I'm sure that wasn't brought up.
But we know that it was brought up at Plan Commission, and as
Right,
we said,
but
we
not
could
to him,
refer it
but
and
not to
put.
him. You're trying.
He'll be at our next meeting
Oh,
on
that's fine.
Friday, but this,
Our next meeting's next Thursday, I think, at
next
11
Thursday.
o'clock in the morning.
So I have one more question. So if there were to be an insertion that accessory building cannot be more than 50% the size of the main building, is that something that has to go back to Plan Commission? It's not something that we can approve these changes and then add that?
Yeah, it would have to go
It has
back
to
to
go
Plan
back to
Commission. It
Plan
would have to
Commission.
also have a public hearing and
Yep.
come back.
Another
So it
public
wouldn't be
hearing.
2 weeks. It would be a
A
month.
month. February.
that would really slow it down.
I got 2 other points. If you're bringing in this master planner and we approve this stuff here tonight, the master planner may look at this and be like, oh, you guys should have did this, now we're reapproving it. So we might as well, how can you shake your head no that you don't know what the master planner's gonna say? He hasn't come in yet. And on the second point, oh, now you made me lose my train of thought. How many business owners or people that own property in the Rome Town Center are on the subcommittee?
We have a business owner from the town.
How many
sub-
people on the subcommittee own property in the Rome Town Center?
Oh,
In the Rome Town Center, 0.
No, I think one.
no, Tiff,
Oh, one.
from,
Yeah,
The
from the real
brewery.
estate, yeah. Oh, and we have Heather from Up North Brewery on there as well.
Tiffany rents property.
Oh, she rents.
She
okay.
doesn't own any.
But we do have Heather on there that owns a very successful brewery.
Well, I guess your other option is to vote on this and.
Nick, how could that be added tonight if they wanted to add it? What would be the correct language?
To add
Yeah,
the
that would be-
restriction.
They can't, right? We'd have to go back for a public hearing and delay this thing a whole month.
If you vote in the affirmative on the motion, it would be to approve it as it exists in front of you today. To add that, you would be referring it to the Plan Commission. You could either do that before you adopt this, which would render this back to the Plan Commission with the recommendation to do it, or you adopt it and you also recommend it go back to the Plan Commission. It's up to you. It's your choice to
Or we
do.
could put it on our agenda, take it up at the next meeting, and bring that information back.
That would be an option. That's the second.
And then we could take it up as we work through those use controls. Because it's not delaying anything at this point. And it's only going to help us if we get it done.
What you're describing is the second option, yes.
Anything else?
So to refer the structure size back to the planning commission, do I need to amend this motion, or do we just go with the motion that we have now and then we do something separate about the referral?
Yeah, you can handle that separately.
You can handle that separately?
Yes.
Okay, and that could be done yet tonight?
Yes, it could, yes.
So who made the motion if you'd want to amend that and send it back?
I don't have to amend, he said. We
Oh.
can vote on the motion.
Okay.
If it passes, or if it doesn't, one way or another, we can then we would put a referral.
Correct.
Next step.
Correct.
But if I'm hearing right, you could amend your motion to accept this work that the committee has done.
My motion
The
is.
motion is
accept
to.
this.
Okay, but then with, also in the same motion to refer it back, does it have to be a separate motion?
No, he's
It
saying
would be
that
up,
you could-
it would be
just-
up to the mover
Okay.
and the
Just
second.
makes
I
it
don't care. All right,
easier.
Well, just make a
I'll amend-
recommendation
I'll amend my
back.
motion to accept the recommendations of the planning commission for the changes to the zoning code and to further refer back to the planning commission for a discussion and action on size restriction on accessory buildings in the Rome Town Center.
Could we adjust that to say the RTC subcommittee? Because we have to work through it, Nick. Is that a necessary step? or-
Ultimately, it has to go back through the Plan Commission, so it isn't improper to have Supervisor Minter, and I would just say that the subcommittee does meet before the Plan Commission.
So we could
so
have the
I would s-
information to him at that time.
You
Okay, I
could,
just wanted
and
to
I
make
would say
sure.
that the amendment would be appropriate. If I read it, let's just say, down the line, I read that, that would be an appropriate avenue of having it go, yes.
Okay, so reading that back, we would approve, there was a motion amended.
We gotta see if Tom will amend it second.
No, I won't.
Well, so then now you don't have a friendly amendment, right? So there needs to be a second to the amendment, and then you would have to handle the amendment, and then handle the,
I will second the amendment because I think it's reasonable and I think there's history here that somebody just can't let go of and we have to move forward and we're not going to progress with these developments. There's people wanting to come in and buy land. They need an RFP. We've been given a gift of donated services to get this moving along and we have resources that are educated in this field helping us with this.
all right. So now you have a motion and a second to amend that original motion. Now you will need to dispose of this first, so you'll have to take a vote on whether or not to amend that original motion.
So that one was declined because we didn't get a second for him to amend it, but I did. Did I
no,
understand
we
you
are-
correctly?
yeah, we are
I'm
now-
just
we're
a
not
little
dealing with a-
tangled up here.
Okay, so we have so at its base, we have a motion and a second. Then we had an amendment, okay, that was not a friendly second, so Now it's seconded on the amendment, so now you have a proposed amended motion that you will have to dispose of. You will have to vote on that, and your vote on that will be to amend the motion, and you'll still have to then vote on that motion. So you're voting first to amend it, then you'll vote on the actual motion.
Okay, so we're voting to amend it? All right, so we'll do a roll call on this. Starting on my left, please, to amend.
Evenson, no.
Minter, yes.
Jumati, yes.
Cole, yes.
Gabriel, no.
Okay, so now.
Okay, so
the
that
next
motion
step-
carries. So now we are dealing with the amended motion. So that can be read now, because that's the motion that's on the floor.
All right, so motion carries. Now we'll read, say that to me again, please, Nick. 'cause
So now you're dealing with the amended motion. So you
I'll
read it in
the way it was
as,
amended. All
Yes.
right. Supervisor Minter, motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Chair Jumati for approval of the ordinance with an amendment that, what would be the correct language?
it's
go
to
back
approve the ordinance as recommended by the Plan Commission, with the referral back to the Plan Commission to, or directive to change or add in provisions
for
setting
size.
maximum size of accessory structures.
Sounds good. All right. Did you get all that? All right. So, any more discussion? Roll call starting on my left.
Evenson, no.
Minter, yes.
Jumati, yes.
Cole, yes.
Gabriel, no.
Motion carries. Thank you. Right. Item number 12, discussion and possible action. Approval of ordinance number 25, amendment to the Town of Rome Code, Chapter 320, Section 320-24 driveways.
All right, so this item comes at the request of our Public Works Director. What's being proposed as an amendment here in Chapter 320 under driveways is as it relates to the review and approval of driveway permits. And so currently, the way that the ordinance is worded in that first introductory section is that the Public Works Director has to approve as to the permit, and that would be the location as well. This language simply adds in the ability to designate an individual to also handle those approvals. Just a bit of history, and certainly Cody could probably speak to that as well. I believe in the past, as we've had permits come in, the zoning administrator has had a fairly significant role from the locate standpoint and the review standpoint. This is just looking to add that in, so it's not held up in any way, shape, or form if the zoning administrator is having a role in this process as well. Otherwise, no other standards to our driveway permit or process is being changed.
Trying to find it, sorry.
There is just one change. I saw it before.
I move to approve the ordinance amendment, changing the introductory paragraph of 320-24 driveways to add the words "or their designee" as after the Director of Public Works with regards to approving the location.
I'll second.
Motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Evenson for the approval of ordinance number 25 amendment to the Town of Rome Code, Chapter 320, Section 320-24 driveways. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, discussion and possible action, review final inspection report for Alpine Estates subdivision roadways and acceptance of dedicated roadways pursuant to Town Code 320-6.
All right, I think that's me again. So this item relates to the acceptance of dedicated roadways in Alpine Estates subdivision. So you may recall, and if you didn't recall, in your packets, you had some information related to it. Back when the plat for Alpine Estates subdivision went through and was approved, there was at the step of the final plat, some conditions that were placed on the approval. Those conditions were noted as, and I'll just review the relevant ones, that the road grades would be approved by the Director of Public Works prior to final paving. That paving would be completed within 24 months following the inspection. And third, that there would be approval of completed subgrade and final finish grade of the road base. And so we are at the step now. I should back up. We also did require at that approval step that there be a bond posted as well. That had been done after that, so we successfully have that in place. Then we have been informed now that we are at the step of accepting that dedicated road, so it is completed now. And so part of our ordinance 320-6 under final inspection does require you all, the board, to approve that formally, and so we do have our Public Works Director here to answer questions if you have any, but we are, as I understand it, we've satisfied all the steps, the road is completed to our specifications, and it's ready to accept at this time. Your acceptance at this time will be what releases the bond, that's kind of why we have to have this step.
Move to approve ordinance 25, amendment to the Town of Rome.
Oops, next one.
Move to approve the final inspection report and acceptance of the roadways in Alpine Estates subdivision.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Cole, for the review, or the final inspection report for Alpine Estates subdivision roadways and acceptance of dedicated roadways pursuant to Town Code 320-60. Do we want to add any comments that all provisions were met and the bond has been released? Do we need that, Nick?
I suspect that will be in perhaps the minutes under my part of the report.
Okay.
And
All
it'll
right.
certainly be in the packet. It does not need to be part of the motion.
All right, thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action, changes to the initial road construction design on Moat Court. I think Cody, or who's gonna take, Cody, you gonna start for us? Why don't you go ahead?
All right.
Make sure your mic's on.
So, in the packet, you'll see the original design for what was intended for Moat Court. After speaking to citizens that are in close relation to Moat Court, the response was that they did not want to have a cul-de-sac put in. After looking at it, it's not necessary to have a cul-de-sac put in. It's an extremely short road. There's one driveway on it. If we were to put the cul-de-sac in, there would be some significant area being used up in some of the properties in the road right away there. The revision that's also in your packet shows the suggested change to widen the end of the road to allow a little more area to push snow in the winter months, and it does not affect the beach club area and access to the beach club at the end of Moat Court. The design should not affect the fence that's at the beach club or the tree line that's at the beach club as well. The new design will actually also save us about $20,000.
20,000?
Yes,
Go to other road work?
yes.
So the homeowner there, is that a permanent resident? Did they have anything to share with that, or
They
we're
were
fine with?
with this
the
new
way you're
design.
doing it.
Yes.
Is the beach club fine with the way you're doing it, the association?
The members that I have spoken to are, yes, they're in favor of this.
So just a point of clarification, there is no cul-de-sac there now. The road, when it was built, just ends, and so we're actually widening it out to help with the snow plowing versus installing a new cul-de-sac that's never been there. There's only one, as Cody said, driveway on here. The other driveways are all off of the other road, and the person living at the end is not in favor of the cul-de-sac, and the road really only serves her and the beach club, and the beach club, I think, also responded in the negative to Cody on wanting this cul-de-sac.
Well, as you stated, they'd lose property.
Yes.
I appreciate you taking another look at this and really working with those in the neighborhood to, or finding a resolution that they appreciated. Thank you. Any other questions for Cody or Jason? Oh, Nick?
Just one thing, just to clarify. One of the reasons that we have our cul-de-sac requirements, and as we review those plats, whether they be in the PUD or in other districts, we always ask whether or not the emergency vehicles, have you check this with Mark to make sure that we can get our emergency vehicles turned around if we need to, and that, with,
I think generally, yeah, they've had calls over there and they've
Yep.
just, the road is extremely short. The cul-de-sac would almost be to the other intersection.
okay, so there are no concerns for turning around or access to emergency
Double
vehicles?
check with Mark. but-
Okay.
And I think Cody's shaking his head over there, but if you've taken a ride out there, you would have a better understanding of what it looks like too, so that helps an inspection of
and the
it,
re-
but there is,
The reason for my
right.
question is
Require-
because sometimes we have put
Correct.
standards in place to allow for adequate
Vehicle turnaround.
turnarounds, and I just want to make sure that we are taking that into account, because those are the same kind of standards that we put in place in other turnaround situations.
Thank you for that reminder. Any other comments or questions? All right then. All in favor? Or we need a motion? I thought we made a motion first. All right
Did you have
then.
comments too?
No, I was gonna make a motion
Okay.
if nobody else spoke up. Change the initial road, I'll make a motion to change the initial road construction design on, is it Moat Court?
I'll second.
Motion by Supervisor Gabriel, second by Supervisor Evenson, to approve the changes to the initial road construction design on Moat Court as presented. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 15, discussion and possible action, supervisor's top 3 focus items for 2025, starting on my left. Supervisor Evenson?
Roads, improve communication with the public, and any kind of budget reduction that we could possibly find. Those are mine.
Okay.
I'll go with roads. Continued efforts to balance the need for expenses on public safety, which would sort of include roads and fire and ambulance and some police and so on and so forth, with the interest of the recreation and living atmosphere of the town, and then communications.
Okay, you got everything? All right, mine is continuing the road maintenance plan and keeping us on a regular, cycle for that maintenance, so that, we don't have to look at borrowing. We've been very fortunate that in our position that we can, financial position, that we can borrow, have our the credits that we have, actually make the payments for a couple of years, and it keeps that down, but I don't know that we want to keep borrowing. So if we get back on a regular cycle, which we're doing a very good job of, thank you guys, to keeping those roads maintained. My other one is keeping the town moving forward with smart development. We are looking at our code, our zoning code rewrite this year, which some of the changes the RTC is doing is assisting with that, which will actually assist us with keeping those costs down. An audit and a rewrite is necessary to update things for the needs we have today. The other one under that same category would be our comp plan. The comp plan, there was a subcommittee years prior. They did a lot of work over, I think, a 9-month period, and the plan we were told that it was at North Central Regional Planning, and it was not. So we need to get that done, as it will be required as by the state this year. My last one would be is more of a warm fuzzy, that we really empower our team of employees and continue to support them as they're forming their team, and they're doing a very good job of it, in providing the services that people have come to expect, and treating our town as one community. Those are mine. Jackie?
Okay, I guess there's a theme for roads, but that is a primary requirement of supervisors, our roads and public safety. So I go a step further and would try to task Cody to finalize a 5-year and a long-range road plan for maintenance and replacement, and to present that to the board, and that the board agree upon a time that he would present that to us, rather than talking about it, but ask you to do it and present something. I picked a random date of July 2025. I don't know if that's enough time, but I'm just saying to put a metric to this, to require that. Public safety, just to maintain local police, fire, and EMS departments with full budgets, no defunding of any of those departments. Not that that's been suggested. Those are ongoing. my numbered ones are under budget and efficiencies, to task the town administrator to create a master town capital outlay program and department head input and use the prepared plan for the 2026 budget process. Citizen communication, ask the town administrator to develop 2 additional methods to disseminate information to the public. It seems that's a common theme in the town, that people don't know what's going on, or they're going to other places to look for what's going on, various Facebook pages, et cetera. And so I think it would be of value to have a better communication tool. I think there are different things that could be done on the website, blogs, different types of methods. So, and then this is one that's been back and forth for, I think, 4 years now, the wake boat issue. I would suggest we create a citizen task force with a deadline of April 15th of 2025 to recommend an ordinance to the town board to resolve the wake boat issue. And I have some ideas of who could be on that committee. But I think we've tried, we've heard from the public, we know what they want, we've heard from the wake boat owners, but yet we don't have anything done. And so I would just want to put a date on that and do it and have something ready for the opening of the boating season. And I guess my last thing is to develop and share with citizens the town's position and response to the potential Public Service Commission permit for a solar array, and with the objective of looking at what objections and developers agreement, so that we're open and transparent with the board's opinion on all of that, and be prepared for when they're going to file it, because it appears they most likely are going to file for a permit.
Those are all very good. Just one comment on the one with the solar. I think that's very good. We have not had any meetings or had any discussion with our energy attorney. It has not been appropriate to do so.
Right.
Some of us know what those recommendations were. We have 2 new supervisors that weren't, so if you think it would be appropriate that we meet with our energy attorney, so he can explain to you exactly what steps we looked at and why we haven't gone, out there with our fists to our chest, because that won't work. They're not required to give us a JDA, and if we act like that, we won't get a JDA. So we have to be responsible. So if you feel that you would like to meet with our energy attorney, we can set that up for a upcoming meeting, that we discuss that with him and the next steps. Because once the CPCN is filed, that's when we start taking real action.
So I think that would be a good idea. And then just overall, I think we need to show respect for fellow board members, citizens, and staff.
Yes.
And that includes being patient and thoughtful when listening to people. That's it, Tom, so I don't know.
There's only supposed to be 3, Jackie.
Yeah.
I'm not a good, I color outside the lines.
It seems like a lot of us have said the same thing. I think the communication with the town of Rome and our citizens needs to be stepped up a little bit. We all see what goes on out there on our phones.
I don't.
There's so often I want to correct statements, but I'm not going to post, but I think that there needs to be maybe a weekly just keep people really informed of what's going on and any changes that are happening, so the rumors don't start out there on Facebook and Nextdoor and all these other sites that are out there. That's my first one. Parks, I think we need to continue the development of our park system in the town of Rome, especially with hopefully the bike trail coming in to lead people into the park. It's nice, let's do something more. We're still looking at the Frisbee RFP out there and stuff, so we are moving forward with the parks, but we do have to give people places to go besides the lakes and the golf course. And my last one, as we all said, is roads, public safety. Got to get the trucks where they got to go, and everybody wants to drive on good roads. But our roads are not that bad here if we go down to the big cities. I bounce a lot more.
Some of them are really bad.
I bounce a lot more in some of the places I travel to than I do in the town of Rome. Yes, we do need to keep up on the roads. So those are my top 3, communication, parks, and roads.
We'll just back up one thing. I think communication has improved quite a bit. I think Jason and the team has improved it. There is more information out there, but I think it could go further. So it wasn't meant as a slam on what's happening now. It's just that I think we need to improve it.
I
Thank
think
you, yes,
we-
I wasn't slamming anybody, and
No,
I
but
didn't think you were.
we just have to keep people informed of what's going on so rumors don't start. Because there's a lot of rumors out there.
I don't disagree with any of you, but I don't know who's going to do that.
So
We
that's
need
just,
an additional person then to take care of
Okay.
communications. Because it is a full-time job to monitor those sites and to reply to everybody.
oh no,
Oh,
I'm not
I'm not asking
suggesting
to
that at all.
reply at all.
I'm saying to do a blog, to do a newsletter, to do all these things you guys want is a full-time job.
Well, I think it's just, I'm asking
As it
it
is,
to be looked at.
As it is, our person that does communications now spends probably half her day doing communications.
And I think that, oh, if I might
That's
just.
all right, I'm just
Then you
saying-
can go next, but, because you've all said something on communications. I am blocked from some of those sites. They don't want me to participate. I've removed myself from Next Door Neighborhood a year and a half ago because it was ugly, actually almost 2 years now on another it's ugly. And I don't think staff has any way of keeping up with the stuff people themselves want to put out there. But I do agree, we do need to get, and we have improved, and Taylor does a phenomenal job. They're trying. But if you're talking about a public information officer, that's a full-time job, and I can't tell you any community within the WTA or any county that has somebody that can do that. And we can do better, absolutely. We can do better, but even when we put out the good stuff, it gets knocked. And it's very, very hard for our staff to continue, and quite frankly, some of the rest of us when we hear it secondhand. It's cruel, it's vicious, and there's no way to even combat that. You just engage in it more. So I think, yes, absolutely, we can improve, and we are, and that is part of some of the steps that we're talking about. But I didn't mean to steal but I wanted to speak to it because there was something very cruel put out there today that I had to deal with. On here, I have a saying, here's my father's pin from the 11th Airborne. If anybody wants to talk to me about veterans, come see me. Thank you.
And I'm not asking that anybody that's in the room to monitor Facebook, Nextdoor, When in Rome, whatever, This in Rome. I'm just asking that the Town of Rome website, I mean, just take the transfer sticker, for instance. When that was voted on by this board, it seemed like there was a big delay in the communication getting out to the residents. Things like that. I don't expect any of our employees in here to be typing comments back to people and engage in that. I'm just saying on the main website or page that Town of Rome has, just keep an updated area, because I feel like, I'm just using that one for an example. The transfer site stickers, I think, caught some of our residents off guard. Like that info could have been out weeks sooner and that's all I'm saying. I don't want anybody monitoring and getting into back and forth conversations. Just put our info out there and leave it be, and what happens from there, happens from there. But at least we're putting out the correct info on the Town of Rome's .gov website
And
or
this-
page or whatever.
And I respect what you're saying, and in conjunction with that, this team that's brought themselves together and doing what they're doing, I'm very proud of them, and I would stand up for them any single day of the week, because I believe they're doing a phenomenal job. Communication, yes, we can improve it, and with the transfer site, that was a learning thing for us, and in their defense, that was a rollout. And with rollouts, having been a programmer analyst, I know that rollouts don't go very well. And sometimes you learn things along the way. Processes and procedures have to be learned, or can we do this better? So sometimes you just need to give them a little breathing room to do their jobs, because some of those things don't all come together. You can't have all the answers right away. And yes, we can improve, and we know that, and I know they're gonna try. But that's my last. Did anybody else want to say anything so we're good on that? Thank you, everyone. I think those are all very good, and I think we're all willing to work as a team to make those things happen. All right, now, number 16, the board may adjourn into closed session pursuant to section 19.85 sub 1 sub C of the Wisconsin State Statutes, which reads, considering employment promotion.
No, I'm just wondering Monday, I think. we skipped an
compensation
item
or
someplace.
performance evaluation. I'm sorry, just need a minute.
But didn't we have to do something?
Of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. In closed session, the board will consider town administrator 12-month evaluation. In closed session, the board will consider appointment of interim director of public works to the position of director of public works and associated compensation. I'm sorry. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Gabriel, a second by Supervisor Evenson to go into closed session pursuant to Section 19.85, Sub 1, Sub C of the Wisconsin statutes, which reads, considering employment, promotion, and blah, blah, blah. Not in the mood. Sorry. The board will consider the town administrator 12-month evaluation and the interim director of public works position and associated compensation. Roll call vote starting on my left, please.
Evenson, yes.
Minter, yes.
Jumadi, yes.
Oh, yes.
Gabriel, yes.
All right, we will now go into closed session.
you
I
guys.
saw my hand.
Should it come out of closed session?
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Gabriel, second by Supervisor Minter, to reconvene into open session as authorized by Wisconsin Statute Section 19.85 Sub 2, and continue with the agenda. You're up.
You need a
Even need a roll
Oh, I'm very sorry.
Evenson, yes.
Minter, yes.
Jumati, yes.
Oh, yes.
Gabriel, yes.
All right, now you're up.
Move to approve the appointment of interim director of public works Cody Knobloch to be the permanent director of public works, with his annual compensation to remain as stated in the town compensation board.
Wait a minute, I'm here.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Evenson, to appoint Cody Knobloch to the Public Works Director full-time position at a salary, annual salary for 2025 set at $77,815 and
It was at the current wage schedule.
Which is the current,
We weren't gonna amend that.
oh, that's
That's okay.
oh, what do you, oh,
Current wage scale.
Earn wage.
current wage scale. All right, sorry, I was, all right, any more on that one? Any more discussion? All right,
My only discussion would be to thank Cody for taking the job, for doing such a good job, and I guess if there's congratulations to
Welcome aboard.
no longer being interim, but being full-time. I look forward to working with you.
thank you very, very much, yep. Appreciate you having
All the
them.
rest of the stuff that's on there is a part of your employment agreement. It's not a part of the motion. So the rest of it
All applies,
all applies.
so, all right then. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. And then the other document will come forward for signatures when it's completed, correct? For that other, we don't need a motion on, okay.
no motion needed.
All right. Number 18, discussion and possible action, approval of resolution number 25-, a resolution approving amendments to the Town of Rome wage scale, removing the word shop before foreman in public works. So we have that resolution in front of us here.
I'll move that we approve resolution number 25-, resolution approving amendments to the Town of Rome wage schedule, removing the word shop before foreman in public works.
Second.
Okay, so motion by Supervisor Cole, second by Supervisor Minter to approve resolution number 25-, approving amendments to the Town of Rome wage schedule, removing the word shop before foreman in public works. Any discussion? I do have a comment I want to make, and we're going to put this one to bed right away. Our police chief, annual salary, he's not making double wages. He makes an additional $26,000 a year to be the administrator. So we'll get that one off of the books now and set that record straight. So that's how we're gonna start improving our communication. We can begin there and go forward. So, thank you, everybody, for a job well done this evening.
Yeah, you need a vote
Oh,
on
I'm
the
sorry, I
shop.
thought we did, oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting tired too, I guess. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for your input on your focus items for 25 too. I think we're all pretty unified on what we need to do moving forward, and we appreciate each other and our staff for what we're trying to accomplish. Thank you. All good points. Any next agenda items specifically that we need right now? I know we have one referral back,
Will come forward from Parks.
For
about
Corp?
Corp.
all right? So that'll be a recommendation to adopt the corp. Awesome.
I had mentioned forming a task force for wake boat review. Something to explore.
All right, we can put that on there. If you have some ideas or anybody has any ideas, or the people that attended that time want to bring any names forward, but we'll put that on there, task force for wake boats.
Another item that.
And moving forward on the issue, not going back over what we've done, we're moving forward on the issue to get something in place for the boating season.
Another item that was mentioned during the top focus areas was potentially scheduling a call with
Yes.
on the solar matter.
Is that something that due to the importance of some of the things that might need to be discussed, do we have to do that in closed session? Can we do a portion in open and part in closed?
I think you would probably notice it in the exact same way that you did previously when you had a phone call with that attorney.
All right, so that was
Be in
closed,
closed
all right. Then we can bring our our newer supervisors up to date, so they can fully understand what the steps were to date and what they would be going forward once that CPC.
And that doesn't
ends.
have to be a rush, whether it's next, I mean,
Well, we'll get them on the next agenda because I think there's some timely communication we would probably want to look for. And we did just send that resolution down to Madison, so we can see if he can update us on anything that's new down there, if anything. Anybody else?
No, I would note that the next meeting is February 6th, and I would request to be allowed to participate remote.
All right, so then will you be here for the second meeting in February?
No.
So you're missing both of them?
Yes.
So we won't be able to do the closed session then, because you can't join us by closed session by phone. So we'll do it for the first one in March.
Sure. No, then next meeting I would be back for, so if you want to go ahead with that without me, you could. The next meeting I would be back in person for would be the second meeting in March, which is the 20th.
Oh, so we're gonna lose you for 3 meetings. Okay, so maybe perhaps since Supervisor Cole's been at the same pace as I and Supervisor Minter, if we have that meeting, then anything that's discussed, perhaps Nick can update or we can.
That'd be fine.
Or the administrator can
Sure.
update you. Okay, great.
Nick won't be here anymore.
He will be for the first meeting in February.
That's true. No.
All right, and I'm sure the rest will build itself out, right, everybody? All righty, next meeting date and time. Call it, please. I don't remember what the date is.
February 6th, is it?
February 6th.
All right, next meeting is February 6th at 5 PM. Thank you, everyone, for your work. Appreciate it, and we'll adjourn the meeting at 6:48 PM.